We just want you to have everything in your marriage relationship that God intended for you to have. He created our sexuality.
Yeah. And if we would get it God's way, if we would do things God's way, especially when it comes to our intimate romantic relationship, then we can be the fruitful, vibrant homes and sending units that we're supposed to be in the world. And
I believe that.
so again, you say, why is it that big of a deal? I'll tell you why it's that big of a deal, because your home matters.
That's right.
Thanks for joining the Home Matters podcast with Eric and Gina Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Here's your host, Eric and Gina Boggs.
Well, I'm Gina Boggs, and this is Eric. Good afternoon.
Home
Good morning.
Matters.
Yeah, Home Matters, episode 101.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night.
Yeah, you never know.
Could be listening anytime,
Never
at work,
know.
rest, or play.
That's right. Hey, we would love for you to go with us to Charleston, South Carolina, Home Matters Ministry.
Let me do this.
I messed it up last time, didn't I?
Marriage Matters Getaway is
There
coming
you
up.
go.
Sponsored by Home Matters.
There you go.
Ministry
Good
that,
commercial.
we do. And you tell us when it's coming.
Okay, August 8th through the 10th. Yes, Charleston,
Starts
South
on a
Carolina.
Thursday night.
That's
and
right.
Again, it is earlier than what we would normally have called our fall event.
That's
but
right. Normally it's in
with that,
September, but we're bumping it back to August.
Summer event. And
Yeah.
Again, it's at the beach. It's on the coast. So
You'll love it.
Charleston,
Beautiful area.
Beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah,
And,
there is
beautiful-
limited space at this venue, more so than we sponsor one every year in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and that's a much larger venue. So,
So can like technology, it's not my thing normally.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm not great, but-
is there some way that people could copy a link and text it to their friends?
yeah, they can send them the website.
Okay.
Yeah, they can do that.
So you can copy. Can I ask you to do something?
yeah.
Uh,
Are you
5
talking to people listening, not me?
I'm not talking to you right now.
Okay, sorry.
I am talking to you always, but copy that link and paste it in
Yeah.
a text and send it to 5 of your married friends who've never been before.
That'd be great.
Said it last time, I'll say it again. If somebody comes and they don't get something, if their marriage is not better after,
Yeah.
I'll refund their
registration. Sounds like a
I'll
deal
do
to
that
me.
right out of your
Yeah.
account. So.
Okay, out of mine. That's
But
good because it's
ours.
tied directly to yours.
Yep, it is.
Listen, though, our Home Matters social media,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you can go there. The links are there. And homematters.family website. So we would love for you to go. You'll have a great time in Charleston. The schedule's just kind of it's open a lot, so you do have a lot of free time.
Sure will.
But we'll concentrate and speak on marriage. All right, so today, what are we talking about today?
We haven't talked about this
We haven't? I'm getting something off your lip. There
in
you
the
go.
last few weeks. I committed a long time ago that we would deal with the subject of intimacy and sex at least every 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And we
haven't done that. Yeah, we skipped out on that a little bit, but
It's just
coming
like
back around
life.
to it today.
Again, if you're not careful, you'll forget about it. And well, we're going to talk about intimacy. We're going to talk about
Yeah,
sex,
really,
in particular, in
yeah.
your relationship, in your marriage. It should
Right.
be what it's supposed to be. And how do you make that part of your life? What God intended, a joy, and not a drag, right?
Right. He intended it. It is a very important part of your relationship, married
Sure
people. God put a great premium on that intimate sexual part of your relationship and the bond, the connection that is made there. It is important. It strengthens your marriage relationship. I'll say that. So don't discount the value of your sexual relationship.
You can't devalue the sexual relationship in marriage.
That's right.
I often say if God placed that kind of premium on this part of your life to be shared with only one person, and so all you fuddy-duds out there that said, "Oh no, I can't believe." Listen, you need to read the Bible. I'll just be plain.
Okay.
Read
just
the
be
Bible
plain.
and see what God says about it and see the premium that he placed on it.
Yeah.
Again, if you read 1 Corinthians 7, it is obvious Paul is instructing the people that are married there that you don't ignore this part of your life.
Yeah, you don't
And
ignore the
I
need.
think Christians, especially people who say they're following Jesus, they kind of dismiss or devalue or discount their intimate sexual relationship, and then the passion is gone, all the romance is gone, and they wonder what happened. And I'll tell you what happened. You didn't pay attention to what God said, and the premium that Song of Solomon, it is spicy. It is,
I'd say,
again, from the beginning, you'll see, guys, and Isaac wept over Rebecca the first time he saw her. I mean, he just.
Did you cry first time you saw me?
I might have. I don't know.
Tell the truth.
I was only 13, so the first time I ever met you that I knew of. I might have cried before that sometime and didn't realize. But again, the passion, the romance, the attraction.
Yeah, just our intent, is you're like, oh, they talk about that again. Listen, we just want you to have, we just want you to have everything in your marriage relationship that God intended for you to have. He created our sexuality.
Yeah,
He created this thing called sex.
That don't know us probably think, boy, this thing they just go over. No, it's not that we are just overly sexed or any of that. It's just the fact that we know that a lot of times couples, because their intimate sexual relationship is dead.
Yeah, they struggle
it's
there.
Boring. It's lifeless. Again, it's passion. Because of that, marriages suffer.
Yeah.
And ultimately, families suffer. And in turn, children suffer. And if we would get it God's way, if we would do things God's way, especially when it comes to our intimate romantic relationship, then we can be the fruitful, vibrant homes and sending units that we're supposed to be in the world. And
I believe that.
So again, you say, why is it that big of a deal? I'll tell you why it's that big of a deal, because your home matters.
That's right.
Your marriage
we say it
matters.
all the time. That's
and
right.
If
your
you treat it like
relationship.
it don't, shame on you. Your sexuality matters. If it matters at all to you, it matters to God.
Yeah.
If there's anything there. So again, we talk about this, and
yeah.
I used to try to I'd talk about it and then almost apologize about it, but I don't apologize at all.
You're not apologizing anymore?
No, and if I make you mad, good. I'm glad I do. If I upset you, if you some
He's on a roll.
fuddy-dud out there, some higher, holier than thou, some reverend that thinks that you know so much, I'll tell you right now, if you're not focusing on the things in your marriage that you need to, your marriage is not everything it should be.
That's right.
And a big part of that is your intimate relationship. The only relationship God measured his relationship with his church with is marriage. And if that is lifeless and boring, boy, I am fired up right now.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to slap somebody. I just feel like if there's somebody, it would never be you. But I'm just saying, if there's somebody out there that is dissenting or don't see where this is needed, you need to wake up and realize what's going on.
I said a little bit ago, just the health of your marriage in every aspect, and even in this intimate aspect, is so important to everything you do, to the way you represent even Jesus Christ in your life. Just the fact that relationship, the word says it should be a representation of God's love, his passion, his compassion, for the church. And so, man, we need to represent well, and that intimate, that sexual piece is such an important part of that.
And just before you turn us off, because here's where a lot of people are too. One spouse has a higher drive or has a desire for sex more than, and the person who don't have the desire, you're the one that turn us off right now.
Yeah.
All we're saying is ask God.
Yeah.
Ask God.
Give
Seek
God a
him.
chance.
Let
That's
God
right.
show you what it's supposed to be, what it should be.
That's right.
And again, when it comes to your relationship,
yeah, just talk to the Lord about your intimate relationship. That's kind of hard sometimes if we're just, we're just, don't even think God knows anything about it. He invented it, right? If we can created it, that's a better word.
That's a better word. He didn't
created it. He created it. But man, if you just talk to God about your intimate relationship,
right.
And say, God, what those people are saying, are you speaking to me through that? And if God says no, he's not, then you don't have to listen, right?
That's right.
I believe he will. So we're going to hit 6 or 7 things today, just maximizing your sexual relationship. How can you improve that? Come on. We're talking Christian couples. How can you improve? Because there are a lot of things, there are a lot of reasons why even Christian couples are not enjoying their sexual relationship. I know there's things you can look, stats are crazy, but, just stress, things that inhibit. I know a lot of times women, it's the body image, what we think about our bodies and how they've changed. It's, they're medical conditions, and we'll speak to that a little bit too, just prioritizing, just too many other things.
A lack of connection sometimes that you have together as husband and wife.
That's right.
You're busy out the end, and again, it's just a place that you have to make it a priority.
That's right.
Your relationship. And again, I always say it this way, your kids won't have mom and dad until they have a healthy marriage, healthy mom and dad over them that's leading them.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is our intimate relationship.
That's right. So let's hit a few of these.
Maximizing our sexual relationship.
That's right. Number one.
You may have heard these before.
Yeah, we've shared these at a Marriage Matters Getaway.
We'll keep sharing them because I think they're so important.
We have.
And can make such a difference. Number one.
That's right. Commit to the sexual needs of your spouse. Man, I think that just comes into the whole call that, we may talk about it in a podcast. I know we have some notes on it. Just our serving one another.
Yeah.
Just putting the other's needs in front of our own.
Right.
The sex needs change, or
it says very clearly in 1 Corinthians 7. I referred to it already, but again, Paul says, don't ignore that. Don't dismiss that.
That's right.
If there are issues, get help.
That's right.
And with that, I think that when people vary when it comes to sex drive. There's varying periods of life.
Seasons.
Seasons.
We said it, the stresses, the busyness, stuff going on at work.
But if there's
jobs.
Sexual need there, always pay attention to the spouse with the higher sex drive. And, we usually think that's only men. But there are marriages, and some of you listening know this, that the wife may have a higher sex drive than her husband. Right. So, a husband, you need to pay attention to that. And again, be attentive to that. So, again, whoever has a higher sex drive, as far as the number of times you're supposed to be having sex every week or every month, there's not a number.
No, there's not a number.
But again,
couples are different, right? Yeah. But pay attention to the needs of your spouse. Sure. We are to serve one another. We're to give ourselves. Give 100, right? 100%. We say it all the time. But we're to give of ourselves. We're to prefer one another and their needs above our own.
Yeah, so, hit number 2. We got to hurry.
Communicate your sexual need. All right? Maximizing our sexual relationship. What does that mean? We're able to talk about it. Right? I know a lot of times couples, that's just something they just do it. They can't talk about it, right?
Yeah, and again, I think that's because it's easy for one or the other to get defensive.
True.
Not what you want, or I'm not what you need, or I never do enough, or that kind of stuff. And so again, there's an open communication, should be that kind of oneness and that kind of love and transparency, that kind of nakedness, if I can say it that way.
That's absolutely
where we're
what
honest
it is.
about different needs and different wants or desires, and again, being able to hit those and do it in a way that is healthy.
That's right. What about this one? Commit to sexual purity.
Biggie.
Yes. Eyes, thoughts, outside influences, conversations that we have with people of the opposite sex. You have to commit, I think, to sexual purity in your relationship.
I believe it.
That,
it's everywhere out there. That's the thing about it. I told Gina just the other day, I was scrolling through and on social media, and there it was. And, I confessed that to her that, I'd seen something that I probably shouldn't have seen, but again, I need that accountability, but for purity in our lives to remain what it should. Now, every couple may not be there. I know Gina and our relationship, I know she's confident in who she is and my desire for her. So again, it's not like she's threatened by, some image out there that maybe crossed my feed, and again, I think that sometimes that's a trap that somebody's trying to set.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, again, there's that commitment. If I'm coming out of a place of bondage, then I got to embrace purity.
Yes.
I've used the example in Exodus, and I'm taking too much time. You go read the book of Exodus. I use this with men all the time. If you're coming out of slavery, If you're coming out of bondage, especially with pornography and stuff nowadays, is so prevalent. If you're coming out of bondage, you got to embrace purity.
Yeah.
You can't just leave it alone. You can't just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. You've got to embrace purity. And one of the ways you embrace purity is to value the relationship you have with your wife. If you're
That's
married,
good, yeah.
see that as holy, as God
That's right.
sees it, and appreciate, embrace everything that your spouse can be.
Yeah, man. Commit to that purity in your life. Makes such a difference. Look at this one. Be honest and accountable about temptations. Okay?
I already said that.
Yeah, we kind of hit that. If there's that temptation there, and again, you know, as Eric said, sometimes there's a temptation there. Sometimes, man, the way social media and computers are now, there are things that pop up. Man, maybe we need to be accountable about those things, even with guards that we set out.
Right.
But being able to talk about those things in this relationship, I think, is so important that we just don't ignore, sweep under the rug. Just that has to be something we talk about, right?
Yeah, it enhances your relationship when you're just honest and saying, hey, I had this happen, or I had this moment. And
or
again,
this person talked to me at work, or I talked to this person at work, and there was nobody else around. And, you know, maybe there's nothing that even happened, but the openness and the honesty, the vulnerability of saying, hey, this is where I was. This wasn't comfortable, or just being able to talk about those things.
Right. That's right.
Builds that closeness in your relationship.
Again, it'll create a healthy place in your intimate sexual life.
That's right. Listen to this one. Be careful of the influence of those who don't value the marriage covenant. I mean, it's just as simple as, who are you hanging out with? Who are you listening to, right? What are you listening to? Do they value marriage the way that you do, the way that God does?
Hey, do they value sex like you do?
Yeah.
And again,
That's good.
If you treat it cheap, then the people you hang around, if they're treating it cheap, it's going to mean nothing to you. But if you hold it as holy and pure and valuable the way God does, marriage bed's pure and undefiled. Hebrews 13. We know that passage, but again, if we hold it pure like we should, then you're not going to let it be treated just any way.
That's right. Or spoken of in just any way. You know, the way others would talk about even their wife or their husband.
Right.
You know, those types of things. So, yeah. What about this one? We're trying to go fast, aren't we? Create an atmosphere of sexual pleasure. What does that mean?
That means have fun. It means the setup, right?
It means take a bath to me.
Cleanliness. Right. And again,
you're always taking baths.
Hygiene is great.
3-4 baths a day.
But again, it's just the nurturing.
Yes.
And the romance. And
that's right. Light a candle.
Yeah. The talk. The
smell good.
The flirting.
The flirting. The text. The emojis. Right.
For guys, usually it's the sight. You know, all those places that you give room for that, and in your privacy. That's right. That you give room. That you nurture that. That you keep it hot. You know, you keep it alive. And again, I know people hear that and they go straight to erotica. But again, the erotic is not just today. The erotic's been alive forever. The eros is the intended love, sexual expression between a husband and wife.
Yes.
And that's something that, again, if we're not careful, we're afraid of that. We're afraid to nurture it. We think, even as followers of Christ, we sometimes think of sex as dirty, and it's not. And we're just saying to keep it alive.
That's right. And a lot of times those thoughts and stuff, we know that comes from, you know, from past experience, from where
that's the reason I
it's
said
the way we've been
term erotica.
Taught, or, you know, the experiences that we've had. But again, we would encourage you, pray about your intimate sexual life. Ask the Lord to help you, to cleanse your mind, your thoughts, and anything that's different than the way God sees it or God talks about it.
And then this last one's a biggie because, again, especially as you go through life, there's seasons.
That's right.
And tell them what it is.
Communicate and deal with sexual problems together.
Yep.
Yeah, because look, we said it, medical problems, there are medical issues, there are illnesses, there are things that come about.
Seasons, like after birth.
Absolutely.
Of read and I actually had dealings with couples who have a lot of problems after childbirth with pain or whatever.
Right.
Those are things you need help with.
There's certain medications, yes, that affect us sexually. That there are things that are going to happen, right? But we have to be able to communicate and deal with those things together, to go through those seasons together. Maybe it's a season where there's not very much sexual activity at all. That does not mean that intimacy can not still be thriving in your relationship, right?
Yeah, even in the old age.
Yeah.
It's factual that even in the old age, couples can still experience a intimate, good, healthy, intimate relationship.
That's right. That's right. And God intends that for our life. Man, maximize everything that God intended for you. Don't live beneath the intimacy, the sexual relationship that God has for you in your marriage. Right?
Yeah, right. And again, you won't regret it. God blessed you with this part of your life in marriage.
That's right.
You won't regret it. It'll only nurture your home. Family.
Absolutely. Hey, we will see you next time.
Hey,
Home Matters.
Your Home Matters.
Go register for the Marriage Matters Getaway. We'd love to see you there.
HomeMatters.family. See you then.